and
Absolutely.
just appreciating the project. And I'm looking forward to connecting, and we'll get something going in Cincinnati soon.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going
Great.
back again. When I mute, I'm going back again to look at your project.
Okay, awesome. Well, let us know if you have any more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. Hey, Costas, welcome. See you jumped up here with us. What's going on, man? Oh, everyone gets rugged on Twitter Spaces. The only bad part as opposed to Clubhouse.
Hello, guys.
There he is. Hey, what's going on, brother?
Doing good, brother. And let me take this opportunity to tell you congratulations for the beautiful art. I'm wowed. And well done. Nicely done. And it's really close to my likes, what I like. So I definitely want to explore your NFT collection. So congratulations for the beautiful art and team need. Let me. I'm a student of Chris Do. So I follow Chris Do. He's an unlimited source of wisdom. So whenever he has like a space or he wants to talk about something, even if it's a subject that I don't really follow, I will get something out of it. So thank you for coordinating something with Chris. And let me. I have some questions for you guys. I mean, I assume you're on the younger uh, side of things. I'm a little bit on the older side. I'm an owner of a creative agency and I'm just finishing my own NFT collection, collectible collection, and with a concept very close to what Chris Do is talking about, a close group of designers. But in my world, there is a market of older designers that don't have access to the new lingo. So I'm trying to accommodate something for those friends as well. So there is a nice concept behind it, but I would like to pick your brain about uh, the huge environmental impact, how you guys approach the defects that the whole crypto, blockchain, NFT uh, craze is. How do you approach the environment part of it? Because there's a lot of I don't know if you agree with that, but it's a fact that a lot of people disagree with what's going on. So, what's your
Sure.
approach regarding the environment? I'm very interested to pick up your brain here.
Well, I think it really just comes down to it. And I appreciate this question, Costas, because, some people would be like, oh, gosh, kick this guy. Oh, he's going to ask the environmental question. Ah, gosh, no. So, everyone's going to have a different question. So I'm going to speak for myself, and then I'll let Jason speak. And Costas, if you're in the pro group, you might remember Jason and I, we did the office
We're
hours for
buddies.
the NFT.
I know
Yeah.
Costa. Yeah,
Yeah, I
we're
know
buddies.
Costas too. I thought so too. I was like, Costas, I recognize you. I thought.
Nice to see you, brothers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Of
exactly.
course, of
So,
course.
um, and from the environmental standpoint, I think there's a lot of ways to look at it. Yesterday, I just flew in an airplane from Denver to Cincinnati and then drove home in a car. If I'm going to travel anywhere, I'm going to have to use fossil fuels. I'm going to have to rely on something that's probably not necessarily good for the environment. I myself have 4 children. That's not very good for the environment. So I think it's just a matter of kind of I try to do what I can. I mean, I myself, I'm an environmental educator, Costas, and you might remember me or remember some of those early conversations I had in the pro group. I come from an outdoor education background. I've been in environmental education pretty much my whole life. I've been super passionate about animals and the environment. So I try to do everything I can to be conscious of my footprint and the impact that I have on the earth that I live on, and my kids will live on, and future generations will live on. So that being said, in the grand scheme of things, do I think it's going to have that large of an impact if I'm able to track and manage to the best of my abilities? No, but I am very cognizant of it, and I think that's really where it starts. As long as we can be cognizant of it when we're using it, because at the end of the day, everything we use is going to use some sort of technology or going to rely on something that is quote unquote bad for the environment. Um, so it's just too hard to avoid it, right? So anything you do, when cars first came out, everyone was like, "Oh man, cars are terrible for the environment." And then we had emissions reports, and then now we're going to EV. So technology is just going to adapt with the times, Costas, in my opinion. So the way I see it is, you know, if it is bad for the environment, which it's been proven there are some aspects of it that could be potentially bad for the environment, there are going to be people that are just as passionate about that will come up with workarounds, will come up with solutions to those problems, and I think we're seeing that actively in today's space in the environments that we're in today. So I'll let Jason talk about this because I know he's answered this question a lot more times than I have. That was my first time really fielding it on a live stage, but yeah, that's just kind of my personal opinion on it, and then I'll just let Jason give his 2 cents and his opinion on it.
Sure. Well, so yes, it is true that it does take a significant source of energy to run the Ethereum blockchain, to run the Bitcoin blockchain, et cetera, et cetera. But I think this has largely been a fear-mongering campaign put forth by people whose paradigm this threatens, i.e. the banking system, largely because that or potentially it could be market manipulators, because realistically, if we were that concerned about it, we wouldn't be having the conversation right now on these devices, because these devices are all made with conflict minerals that were extremely detrimental to the environment to take out of the ground, detrimental to human life to turn into cell phones, et cetera, et cetera. And we're sitting here, in our ivory tower talking about the environmental impacts of whatever. We're Americans. Come on, man. Like that. So first of all, I think it's a little bit disingenuous to worry about this when there's millions of other things.
Well, most of us are Americans.
Well, but yeah, that's fair.
We have an international audience, but
we do have.
We're all privileged to the extent we're on the phones now.
Particularly talking about the people on this stage right now, or if not all Americans, at least in North America. But you know what I'm saying? It's like we live in the first world, right? If you've got a cell phone and you're on this conversation right now, presumably you're doing better than a lot of other people in the world. And so anyway, my point is, I think first of all, it's a disingenuous argument to worry about that compared to the cost of moving money around, the cost of keeping the lights on at all the banks, the cost of running all of the servers that run the entire network of data supply for the banking system, to ignore the cost of all of the people that commute from their homes into offices, to ignore the cost of the price of keeping all of the ATMs and all of the networks on, to ignore the cost of all of the man hours and everything else that involves in the banking system, and all of the carbon costs and emissions that is generating. And then we want to point the finger at the entire blockchain. The entire blockchain ecosystem doesn't consume a fraction of that. So I think realistically that there is that. And then the main point, it is in the miners' best interest, because they are compensated in the tokens on the network. It is in their best interest to be able to produce those tokens as cheaply as possible. So by intrinsic motivation, the miners, who are the ones that are securing the network and making sure that the network works, are motivated to get the lowest cost energy as possible so that they have a higher profit margin. Simple self-interest ensures that. So that's one part of it. And the other part of it is the devs are on this stuff. We've got right now all the main blockchains, or should I say, the two heaviest hitters are proof of work algorithms. But Ethereum has been working on proof of stake for some time. The promise of Ethereum 2.0 is, who knows? They've been saying it's imminent since 2018 or so, but it's coming. And then you've got all these other competitors out there. Your Algorands, your Cardanos, your Tezos, there's all these other ones out there that already exist that are also trying to solve these problems. And then you've also got all the sidechain solutions. So, I mean, over time, really, I think the main issue is that we're facing a lack of adoption. If more people were using this technology in appropriate ways, it doesn't need to be everything, but in appropriate ways, I think we could be eliminating significant inefficiencies across a number of other industries that would more than compensate for the offset of carbon cost of running a Bitcoin mining rig. And now I'm done.
I think since this is a fairly new industry, it helps to be cautious and careful as we get into it, because once you totally get into it, it's really hard to make those changes. And it does consume a lot of energy depending on the number of transactions on the blockchain. And I think that, we might come up with ways to reduce that by doing much of the work outside the blockchain and then doing the final transaction on the blockchain. I think that might be one way one approach that maybe different platforms will use and different blockchains. So we just have to see how it works. But it
You got
does
sidechain
consume.
solutions that are doing that as well.
Yeah. Sorry.
I was
Say
saying
that
there's
again.
Side
sidechain
chains.
solutions that'll do that as well, right?
Okay.
Lightning Network
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Bitcoin, like Polkadot, all these other side chains on, so where you can process a
Yeah.
bunch of other data in a side chain and then plug it back into the main chain. And I mean, as this
Yeah.
stuff gets more adopted, I think the
And I
energy costs
think
will.
I read somewhere that OpenSea is really, consumes a lot more energy than many of the other chains, and that's partly because we're also doing a lot, um, the numbers. It's a numbers game. We're playing a numbers game on OpenSea, so I guess that's what it is. But yeah, I think it's nice to be cautious. I don't know who brought up the topic, but I think it's really something we ought to think about, because what you said was so right, and I think that was Jason who was talking just now. But or the need NFT. I don't know who
Yeah,
that is,
that's me.
but
I'm
yeah,
Jason.
yes.
If
No,
I
I
may
think
add,
you're so right. There's so many other things, and there's so much going
We
on.
got Costas.
But we've got to start somewhere, right? So this is good. I mean, it's a good topic. Who brought up the topic?
Costas did. Go ahead,
yeah,
Costas.
I
Costas.
brought up the
Yeah,
topic, so thank you all. I mean,
yeah. It is something to
Jason and
think
the rest of the
about.
gang. I mean, you guys were very insightful. And by all means, I don't want to be misconcepted as an activist for the environment because
No,
I'm just exploring right now the landscape
exactly.
as a lot of people. And when you're new in one area, you want to be aware. I think awareness is the key element here that
I
everybody brought
think
up.
so.
So you guys represented my thoughts exactly, very beautifully and very articulated. And I think uh, exactly whatever we do actually needs energy, needs power. So the fear mongering campaign right now from people they don't have adopted to the blockchain is kind of like being a little bit of a turn off for some new people that want to enter and say, maybe I shouldn't get involved with this. Let it ripe a little bit, and then I'm going to get involved. And what I see right now from the tendencies of the market, it's the best time right now for anybody to get into NFT and blockchain and crypto because things have been validated. And as Jason said right now about the proof of work and proof of stake, the new protocol of Ethereum is going to be way less. It's going to be way more friendly to the environment. So all the technologies, all the people involved, they're very aware. So that gives me great hope. That is a very good market to enter. And as I'm building my small community and my collectible collection, I just want to be aware. So you guys are being very insightful. Thank you so much for that. I'm always out there for research and learning more. So I do appreciate your insights. I'm gonna follow most of the people that I see here, and hopefully we're gonna keep in touch. And I want to explore your journey. It's quite inspiring. So thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks a lot, Costas, for coming up, man. We appreciate you. That goes for anybody else that's down below. If you guys want to come up and ask any questions or questions specific to the project, any projects really over the past year, we've pretty much been doing this for quite a long time now. There's a lot of people that use the term gurus and experts and consultants that have really been, in the NFT space for 2 months, which, might be a long time in this space. They say like one day is like 5 years in the NFT space or in the metaverse. And, if that's the case, Jason's been doing this since like 2017, 2016, and I've been in NFTs exclusively for over a year now. So it's just like, I, like I said earlier with Chris in the room, I'm here for education. I'm here for, the biggest benefit that I've seen from this technology, from NFT, from crypto, is the ability for it to give anyone and everyone equal opportunity to make a name for themselves, to make their own artistic vision, to have a say in that, to generate perpetuity and equity from those things. And just anywhere in the world, no matter where you are, it really allows you to offset that disparity. So I think that's one of the coolest things about it. And so, yeah, if anybody has any questions, we'd love to take a couple more here before we wrap it up. But we just really appreciate everyone spending some time with us here tonight. Hey, Austin, what's going on, man?
Hey, just saying hello.
For those of you who
What's
don't
up,
know,
brother?
Austin's one of our he's our executive producer for The Need. All of our great trailers and all of our big animations that you've seen were Austin and his crew. So yeah, big shout out to Austin who's joined us there with his crystal skull profile picture. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, man, that's one of the best, and I've seen just a smidge of what is the collection, and it's an incredible piece, and it speaks to me because little crystal skull, little hood, you don't know what's behind the mask. It's great, but been listening to you guys for almost an hour and a half or however long this room has been, and it's been just so educational, and it's so great to hear you guys be so transparent and open to share how all this stuff works and just be so encouraging to people. It's exactly why I've gravitated to this project and the NFT world. And I will say that I was talking to a friend today about how great the community is, and I said it feels like I started at MTV back when they used abacuses and there was modems and all those things, but um, that was the same spirit as I feel when I come into these rooms. Like there are a bunch of people that want to try something new and or support each other and are like, wow, that's interesting. I've never seen that before, or I didn't hear that, or thank you for telling me how to do that because I didn't know how to do that. And to me, that's really the spirit of art, and I'm such a fan of it. So I just wanted to chime in and say you guys are inspiring just with the way you share with everybody.
Thanks so much, Austin. We appreciate that, man. We appreciate calling you a part of the team. It's a privilege to have you and someone of your caliber supporting us and in our corner. So yeah, it's a team effort, and as we always say, a rising tide raises all ships. So we're here to help everybody and bring everybody along with us. So we appreciate you, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hey, Crypto God, what's going on, man? I saw you came up.
Yo, what's up, bro?
Yeah, how are you?
Bro, you're dope as hell, bro. I give you a follow. I feel that you're being genuine and you're giving out mad gems. I just got into the crypto space as well too. Well, not well, like maybe like a month now. I just got my first crypto probably like 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Welcome to the rabbit hole.
Appreciate you, bro. And so, honestly, the community has been like, just like everybody has been so insightful and just empowering, and I love that because it's in the real world, everybody's just so busy, everybody's just doing their own thing, and it's cool to find a space like this. I just want to say thank you.
Oh man, it's the feeling is mutual. It's people like you, Crypto God, that keep me going. Hearing about people just joining the space and being just being encouraged or feeling optimistic towards things, because like Jason was talking about earlier when we were setting up Chris in the wallet, it's very intimidating getting into this space. You're like, look out for this monster behind this corner, and then there's this guy over here, you got to look out for this and keep this safe and look out for these DMs and don't click on any links, and oh my gosh, look out for this, and this project's a rug pull, look out for that too. And so like I know what it's like, and I've gone through the gamut in the NFT project, the NFT space, right? I've put out projects myself. I've represented artists all throughout the space. I've been an advisor on projects. I've been community manager for projects and team leads, and I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I've been asked it all, and even today, like there's more questions that come to me that I haven't been asked before, and I really enjoy it. Like earlier, Costas asking the environmental question. I've never been put on the spot like on a live stage and ask that question. But I enjoy it. I like those kind of questions because I feel like a lot of people in this space, they won't take those kind of questions or they won't have that kind of vulnerability. So I appreciate you recognizing that, and I think that will lead you far in this space. So just continue to use discernment and make sure you're checking out everybody. And this goes for everybody in here. Just don't take my word for it. Go ask a friend, and ask another friend, trust and verify with everything you do, clicking on links, talking to people, make sure it's who you're talking to, recognize people's voices, and go through those extra steps, because it might sound redundant, but in the grand scheme of things, it'll save you a headache. Because like I said, I've been in this space for a year now, and about a month and a half ago, even I got scammed on, just got careless, and I thought I was missing a drop that had came out, but it wasn't even minting. And I got caught by a copycat website where they had just replaced one letter for the project. And I minted $1,500. They took $1,500 worth of ETH off of me. So like it really can happen to everyone. And a lot of people are like, man, you should not be telling people that. That just makes you look like a complete jabroni. But at the end of the day, that's just me being fully transparent, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. So hopefully anyone and everyone can learn from those kind of lessons. So that's what we're here for. And yeah, we appreciate you, Crypto. And yeah, I followed you back, man. And check out the Need Discord. And if you ever need anything, find me there or find me on Twitter. And that goes for everybody else that's here.
No, yeah, bro, and I appreciate you because because of your personality. Any give me like information about your NFT.
Sure, man. Yeah, sure. So basically, Expensive Taste, who on my screen right now, he's the top right. He's got the red background there with the black armor with the peace sign now. He has been basically creating and writing this story in his mind for over 15 years. He's worked on some of the largest movies and cinemas and TV productions that we've seen. And Austin has also, they've worked together on some projects as well. And that's kind of how we got connected. But he's been writing this story for such a long time. And way back when, which isn't really that long ago, in about January, February, we met on Clubhouse, and we met over the common love of football, and not American football, football soccer, because I was working for NBC Sports at the time, and I did a lot of live analyst stuff for the Premier League, blah, blah, blah. And so we connected over soccer, and long story short, I found out that he was this amazing creative person. And he is just very talented. And I was like, man, you should do NFTs. And he's like, oh man, I don't know about this. And so we came out with a fun project at the time. CryptoPunks were really taking off, and Clubhouse was very popular. Rooms of 500 to 1,000 people were nothing. Like that was just an easy accomplishment, no problem. And so everyone on there was just talking out of their ass. And sorry for cussing if there's any children in the room, but everyone was talking out of their ass on Clubhouse and on socials. So we came out with the 8-bit booties, and you might have seen these before, but the 8-bit booties was just a fun project. We did 50 booties, and it was for a profile picture project, and it was just really fun way to poke fun at the CryptoPunks, because everyone was going crazy for the CryptoPunks, and so we made crypto butts. And so Jay made these 8-bit booties, and then he was like, all right, Lee, the COVID is over, quarantine. I've got to go do real work now for real people. I can't be playing in the metaverse all the time with you. Have fun. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to miss you. Take care. And so we stayed in touch, and I continued working in the NFT space, signed a couple of really big artists in the space, and fast forward to about September, and we started OniForce. I don't know if you're familiar with OniForce, but I was at the time Brian, who did the art, and JR, who is the head of marketing. I was representing both of those artists, and they were two of my artists for the Burning Bush Collective. And so I was basically brought on and a part of a lot of those initial conversations, and I learned so much from that project. And that was basically a really big turning point for the NFT space, and there was a lot of things happening at that time. And so I just basically have used all this education and all the things that I've learned over the time to get to where I am. And Jay came to me, Expensive Taste came to me after OniForce, and I was like, hey man, things are calming down. He's like, Lee, I think I'm ready to do an NFT project, and I think I have just the right idea. And so he told me a little bit of the backstory and the lore to these characters that you're seeing here on some of our PFPs and in the need profile. And I was just absolutely like gobsmacked. I mean, I was jaw to the floor. I mean, it was like Lord of the Rings meets like the DC Marvel Cinematic Universe type ordeal. And just like how elaborate the story was and everything that's happening behind it was just so incredible and encapsulating to me that I just needed it. And that's kind of how we landed on the need. It was something that you need, and it was a metaphor for cryptocurrency and NFTs, because everyone's like, oh, I need that Discord link, or I need to get whitelist, or I need pre-sale, or I need that Twitter, need this many retweets. It was just everyone always needed something. And so that's kind of how we landed on it. And it's just got an amazing story, and we're working on with amazing professionals like Austin, and amazing actors and actresses across the world, very famous, and just really trying to bring this to a full circle through media property, a full brand, a full IP with movies. We've got a full illustration team that have been busting out some amazing illustrations for the comics and just graphic novels. And so Yeah, man, it's just a full-fledged project. I mean, there's just so much that goes into it. I mean, we could talk for days and days and days. I think that's why, we're on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces every day. We guarantee that you can find us and talk to us or listen to us talk about the project because there's always news to be had. So, yeah, that's just like a short little dip, and I know it's actually even pretty long, but that's just kind of a short background on how the story came to be. And we're not paying a bunch of influencers. We're not going out about it, buying a bunch of Discord bots or a bunch of Instagram followers or Twitter followers. You can see we've just now hit 700. So we're going about this very organically. We want to do this the right way. And instead of doing like releasing the whole project all at once, we decided to do it in waves where we could let more of the story build and show people that it's more of a long-term vision as opposed to a short-term vision. So, I mean, it's in my eyes, I think it's really here to disrupt the traditional NFT space of the generative project, especially, you've got 10,000 images that were all hand created here. That's unheard of, especially when you look at some of the details of these in the high res photos. So, yeah, it's just really exciting to be a part of it, and to say that I had somewhat of a hand in it, and just a privilege to be talking about it because there's so many people that can really connect with it and enjoy it. So, yeah, that's just a little bit about it. Sorry for so much rambling.
No, the project sounds crazy, bro. I'm gonna check it out, bro. And then obviously if I have any questions, I'll let you know.
For sure. Yeah, we appreciate you coming up, man, and asking the questions. And yeah, if you ever need anything, shoot me a message.
Of course, my bro. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah. What's going on, Montauk man?
Thank you
you?
very much for giving me an opportunity to ask a quick question. I actually have not done anything with NFTs yet. I'm literally stepping my toe into this pool, and getting a chance to actually hear you guys talk about it has answered a couple of my questions, but I wanted to ask it anyway in case anyone else had some other advice they would like to give. First, that you kind of touched upon just a couple minutes ago about how you did get caught up in a scam. What are some of the things that I should kind of be on the lookout for coming into this new environment?
Anybody who wants to be your friend first.
DMs. Yeah, DMs. Beware of DMs. DMs are poison. Most of the time when
I was
people
on
are
the
like,
phone with
hey,
him when that happened too. So make sure you're not distracted when you type in things. So
yep.
that would...
Yeah, being thorough, being careful, measure twice, cut once. Don't click links. Just this is going to sound really bad, but it's the truth. Just don't trust anyone. Like just
Yep.
don't trust anybody outright. Just have your spidey sense up all the time, a little bit, and just be careful. Like that's really the main thing, because they'll slide into your DMs. They will they'll clone your friends profiles and try to message you and pretend to be them. They're very creative. The scammers are very creative. They'll find out all of the people that were on the whitelist for a project, hack their email, and then send out an email. Like, I think this is what Lee was talking about, where it's like, hey, we just reopened the list. If you want to get on, send ETH to this address. And if you send it, it's over. So they're very creative. You've just got to have really good wallet management best practices, and you've just got to be extra cautious and assume that pretty much anybody that DMs you first offering help is probably trying to rip you off. That's
If I could add, right, when you're looking at NFTs, right, when I'm looking at NFTs, I'm always doing very thorough research. I'm looking at to see what they have in planned and the roadmaps, to see if they're maybe team this docs, to see if they have a LinkedIn, if I can find them. Those things I think are also very important.
Thanks. Yeah, that's
great.
Really good advice. I love that. Continuing on that route, what is, like, from a creator standpoint, what is one of the first things when you were starting out that you wish you had known then?
Oh, wow. What about you, Jason? Go ahead. You go first.
Great.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
that is a great question. Honestly, I wished I'd have known a little bit more about tax law, and I wish I'd have known a little bit more about just IT safety overall, I think. And I know you're like, but you said as an artist. Yeah, exactly. I've got all kinds of practice as an artist. I don't have a ton of, it's all of my business savvy and IT knowledge is hard won the hard way. So that's what I would say.
Man, I would say probably just discernment of bots and real people, like in Discords and on Twitters, because like people be like, oh, they have 7,000 members in their Discord or 7,000 followers, and they don't realize that they can buy all those people. And you can have an AI you can have a conversation with an AI bot in Discord and not even realize it, because people are programming fake people inside of Discords now. So I mean, it is just like, it's scary. It's the Wild West. So I think just being able to discern between real people and fake people in Discords and on socials, because that's really what matters. And so when you're trying to figure out if they've got a good community, what they have going on for them, I think that's one of the biggest important things to look at is, vetting their socials. And I'm not affiliated with this website at all, and I'm not getting paid to say this, but Social Blade is a website that I use to kind of go through people's socials to figure out if they have decent engagement rates, if they're following our actual people. So yeah, Social Blade. I think if I would have found that website sooner, I think that would have saved me at least 2 months of time of going through and looking through individual profiles of 7,000 people.
Yeah, Social Blade is great.
Yeah. I wrote that down, so I make sure that I have that. And just my last question, I've noticed going into this, and even with what you guys are promoting now with the need, that most of what I'm seeing are collections. They're like thousands to 10,000s of pieces put out at one time. And as you were also saying, a lot of them were like generated through algorithms, whereas yours are, hand drawn and hand created. Do you think there's a space for something that is lower in numbers? Because it does seem that a lot of it is done kind of in mass.
I think, how big were the DBs, Lee?
3K. Somewhere around
Yeah.
3K.
So yeah, and they were great. I think they were handmade too. Is that correct? They're very quality in terms of the art, and I think they did them all by hand. But they did 3K. But if you have ever done an NFT before?
I literally have never done one before.
Okay,
I am like just learn the process.
You should
and
start
I have,
with
like,
one.
things
I think
I'm designing,
Yeah,
but that's
start
about
with
it.
One of one.
Start with one and then go up from there. That's doing these 10K by hand, which is really crazy, but it's more work than anybody should take on by themselves. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but what you should do is do one first, and then get in there, learn who likes your art, and look at people who would like your art and what kind of things they're looking for, and then you can scale up from there. Without really taxing yourself too much. But then when you get to do like a 10K project, even though you can do the art by hand and do it, it's really impossible to do it yourself for 10K. So we had a whole team. I set up the look for things, and then we had a whole team of artists do it. And that's how we got it done. So if you don't have friends to help you on a 10K project, or even a 3,000 project would be even big, then you shouldn't do it alone. You should do it with people that you're friends with and work with and know how to work with them. But you should do a one. It's something that nothing's going to stop you except for the price of ETH. And then you could always do Solana or something like that if you wanted to.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
But do it.
I will do. I actually have several projects that I want to turn into NFTs, but then, I started looking through OpenSea and seeing like, oh, people are putting out like 1,000 at a time. Maybe I need to do more than what I got.
No, just do one. Just do one first. And then you'll get that high. You'll get that elation when that happens. It's a crazy thing when somebody buys it on the blockchain and you see it. You can see who bought it. And you can tweet to them. You can say, thank you for buying. And then if they want to know anything else, you can talk to them directly. It's really hard to do it with the 10K project, but do one first, and then do 5, and then do 10, and go on from there.
So that was supposed to be my last question, but your answer actually just brought up another question. How do you determine like a pricing for something? Like, how do you decide like, okay, this is where I'm going to put it as?
Well, the things
Yeah,
that I
well,
say
I
about
can't wait to hear
one-of-ones.
your answer for this
Yeah.
because this was something that we talked about. This was a conversation that we went back and forth on for the need for quite some time. So I'm curious how do you value your time? That's what it comes down to, right, Jay?
Yes. Well, I'm expensive taste for a reason. So I value my time and my art very highly. And it's if you're doing one-of-ones, what I would say first is don't do if you don't have anybody following you or you don't have anybody that appreciates your art, you shouldn't put out something first because no one will see it. So before you do anything on the blockchain for money, you should put out art and then have people appreciate your art and let them tell you how much they'll pay for it. So if you put out art that people love and then say, I'm thinking of putting, and you have followers, then you can put out something that says, I'm thinking of putting stuff on the blockchain so you can own it. How much would you like to see it, and how much would you be willing to pay for it? So you're asking your own community and people that appreciate your art, those are your potential buyers. That's your market. So if you ask them how much they will pay for it, then they'll give you the price. And somebody that you've interacted with and that you've asked to, they'll say, oh, they appreciate my thoughts and my feelings about how much I would pay for this. So then they'll be even more primed. So you can say, I put up blockchain, I followed your advice, and please consider it. It's made for you, and it's put up there at the price that you say that you like. Thank you so much for your for what you've done for me. And then if you'd like to own a piece of my work and be able to go through my journey as an artist from now to the heights, you can benefit also because they can then sell it later on, and they've caught you at if they got a value proposition, right? So if they pay a little, very very little, but then they can have a high reward if they see your potential as an artist.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
But always talk to people. You can go into Twitter Spaces and talk to people about art, everything. But let them tell you how much it is. So, thank you for the questions. Great question.
Yeah, thanks, Montauk.
No worries. Thank you for letting me ask.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to connecting on the next Twitter Spaces. F. Dot, what's going on? You're back up on stage. Welcome. I love the cool cat. We love the cats.
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, sorry, I got rugged before. I'm back.
Yeah, no problem. What's going on?
Chilling, just doing some digital drawing right now. Just excited for this space. Cool to hear about your approach to this massive hand-drawn project. We all know that high-effort art is sexy. So when you see it on that scale of a whole team of illustrators working on one vision, it's inspiring. So congratulations. I guess I was just curious about that whole process of what that's like directing a team of illustrators to do such a massive project, and what were some of the key decisions you had to make through the process, like if someone were to do something similar.
Yeah, so one of the things that we ran up with first of all is that we just needed to decide based on the story. We had a story that involved the entire world, and a lot of the things that you see is one character, and then there's a different accessories like you have with your character on there, and those are amazing. What we wanted to do was to take different people from around the world and have them represented in the Need universe, because it's all about the entire world is filled with magic and the way that they battle each other for the weapons and armor that they have. So we decided that we couldn't go that route because we needed everybody to be able to have something that they feel as themselves maybe in this universe, or collect everybody from around the world, different people, different kinds of people from around the world, and collect them all and get who they want. So what we decided early on, we took that hard decision of doing different kinds of characters, and that really was the biggest thing that I would say is the thing that gave us the biggest hurdle. So if you can just narrow down what you're wanting to say first, if you can narrow it down to one, that's where you like one character, then you've got a lot of leg up on what we had to do, because what we expanded it to 25 characters, and then So that's one thing that was a real big problem with us. So if you narrow it down to that, you're going to be a good amount of the way there. Then you need to decide on your traits, and so you need to also decide about the traits and what the rarity of the traits is. And that's one thing that you never hear about. But you need to first, before you do any art, you need to put it on a spreadsheet and determine what you need to do. So then you can make your base character. Then you need to make your accessories based on the character. And if you're doing one character, you just need to do one type of accessory. Then you can put it all into, they have Photoshop scripts. They have different scripts that you can do now that you can do the generative thing in the computer. It takes a long time, but once you have it all lined up, you can put it into Photoshop as layers, and then you make the whole project. You can get it all done. But I think the first thing you need to do is comprehend what you're doing and think of why you're doing it. If you're doing it to make money, you'll need to go at it in a financial way, in terms of you need to get your market first. You need to get your you need to say, who are we selling it to? Who is looking for this project, and why are we doing it? How are we going to reach them? And then once you have that, you can figure out what character you want to do, and then figure out the traits, figure out the rarity, get with everybody. You need you need to get in touch with somebody who's a dev too. That's a real big thing that I didn't know anything about. So Lee had a great thing about that, and you can talk more about that.
Yeah, so I mean, in regards to working with the team of illustrators, so Expensive Taste is the creator, F. Dot. So he created the whole story, and him and however many people he had individually created the 10K pieces. And so I told them, I said, okay, I want you guys to focus on that side of things for now. I'm going to go and hire an illustration team. So I went out and hired the illustration team to handle all of the 2D work. So if you kind of scroll through the Need profile, or actually if you go to Austin's profile and look through some of his recent posts, you'll see that he's posted. Actually, here, I can just share this. So for instance, this is actually one of my freaking favorite pieces. So this is my PFP. This is my character driving the vehicle. And then one of the other Need characters on top. But this is something that our illustration team came up with just to do cool promos. So, I mean, what it comes down to when you're quote unquote directing these kind of people, man, it requires no directing. If you get everybody in their right spot and everybody knows their role and stays in their own lane. So, for instance, I'm not an artist at all. I like doing ideas. I like talking to people, and I like educating. So, Expensive Taste, he is incredible at all things art, 3D work. Austin is incredible at all things promos, trailers, cinematography, all that amazing stuff. Jason is incredible at blockchain, security, being the master skeptical and poking holes at all things crypto. And so it's all about getting people in the right position and telling them, hey, you stay in your lane. You worry about being a good Jason. Hey, you worry about being a good Austin. You worry about being a good Expensive Taste. And everybody will stay in their own lane and do what they're good at. And they can only focus on what they're good at. They don't have to worry about anything else. And I think that's what makes a good and successful project, is because you don't see all of the combatant, kind of like hostile takeover type thing. There's not that competition because nobody's close to somebody else in any of these categories. I'm nowhere close to being as good as Expensive Taste at any of this, and vice versa in any of this stuff. So everyone has their own role to play, and I think it's about establishing those roles and having the best of the best in each of those roles. Just like my illustrators, they're incredible at what they do. So I think that's what it comes down to when you're working on projects of this scale, is ensuring that everyone is in the right puzzle, or all the puzzle pieces are in the right places.
Yeah, I feel like we are just scratching the surface about what it takes to make a successful project. But thank you so much for sharing. And it's great to hear a little bit of behind the scenes of how it went, of step by step, at a super high level. It's obviously a really big feat to put together so many artists and so many pieces. But I love the work. I love what I'm seeing, just like the characters, and then the way that they're getting sort of illustrated into these worlds already is really, really cool. So props to the illustrators, props to everybody who's doing the project. I can chill up on stage here for a little bit, but that was my main question. Thanks for answering.
Yeah, no, great question. I appreciate you asking. It's It's awesome. Go ahead.
Yes, shout out to our illustrators.
Yeah, for sure. I was just looking through the stage to try to find Nino.
Yeah, they're not here. I look too.
Yeah, I know. He's in the middle of he's in the Netherlands, so
probably asleep by now.
he's probably sleeping right now. But yeah, Nino Mariano is busting out these illustrations, and in the Discord, people now are starting to ask him, "Hey, can you do an illustration of my piece, or can you do an illustration of my character?" And he's just turning around for people and just having some fun with it. And I think that's what really helps drive the community aspect too. To a big extent is just having people accessible and just having fun with it. We had a derivative contest that was a lot of fun. We had a meme contest that was a lot of fun, and it's just about trying to figure out new and exciting ways as more and more NFT projects pop up and more Discords pop up and everybody's doing this and that. It's all about standing out. So I think that's kind of what we're trying to do with the whole movie aspect, and we've cut all these great trailers already, and the illustrations that are coming on. So I think that's a new way to kind of do things, and that's the way we're trying to push the new norm. So we'll see how it goes. It's just been a fun ride, and it's been a good time. So we'll just keep onwards and upwards.
I think that's really part of the fun part about it is the Wild Westy thing of being able to figure out, like, what can we do with this? Can we launch a movie property with this? Like, can we launch an entire cinematic universe? Can we do all this different stuff? Can we make it a game? Can we do all this stuff simultaneously? And like, that's just been the fun part, is trying to figure out. I think it's funny when people are like, well, what is the utility of an NFT? And it's like, well, what utility do you want to give it? Like, there are certain things that you have to code in, right? Like, there are certain capabilities that you would have to code in, and so yeah, you'd need to find a dev to be able to write you a smart contract that can do these things. But what do you want it to do? And then maybe, it's like, think about what you might want it to do. I mean, just, we've talked through a bunch of the stuff that we've done with the need. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there to study. You can look at, like, what Oni Force has done, what Bored Apes have done, what the Punks have done, and just, like, look at the things that they've done to see what has worked, and then remix it. Try to figure out your own way to make a spin on it. And I think that's the interesting thing about this space, is just, it's still, what was the analogy you used the other day, Jay? It's still just a block of marble. It hasn't.
Yeah, like Michelangelo. There's something in the block of marble. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see what's in the block of marble instead of you're freeing it from the block of marble, the statue.
F. Are you
the building?
Thinking of? Oh, sorry, Lee, go ahead, dude.
No, I was just going to say, the analogy we also use is building the plane as we're flying it. That's how a lot of this is in the NFT space. Is nobody can really truly be an expert, because everyone is really building the plane while we're flying it, because we're all learning as we go. But yeah, go ahead and ask F. If he's got a little project in his pocket.
Yeah, I was just going to say, are you considering? I mean, you're asking some particular questions. So are you looking at putting together some sort of generative project, or are you just trying to decide whether that's something you want to take a whack at, or like are you just fascinated with the process?
A little bit of everything, for sure. I think I'm always drawing. I'm always putting out art in different ways, and it's a new year. I'm excited about new opportunities. So just learning and figuring out my big project for this year, for sure, but not exactly sure when or how I'm going to roll it out. I still have a couple small things on my plate to finish up, and yeah, but I'm excited to just be learning from y'all, and like being in so many spaces with so many talented people, smart people, just seeing how it's done, seeing how community is done, seeing how proper art is done. Sorry about the noise. That is my dog howling at me.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's tough as an artist to balance.
There in the pinned tweet. This is amazing. This is cool. And you raised some 1.3 ETH for a youth skateboarding and art charity. I mean, that's what it's about, man.
Thanks for pinning my work up there, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about what I've done, but bigger projects coming up for sure. I'm just sort of studying how people are doing different things all the time, and always making new art to and organizing it in different ways is kind of the most interesting and challenging part.
Yeah.
You know, making it into collections, making it make sense, turning it into stories, because a lot of my art is sort of meditative and natural, where I'm not sitting down with a goal. It's really just to meditate, to do the process, and then the story comes out like through the drawing. I'm sure some of people here can relate to that style. But yeah, this piece that you
that's
just pinned
great.
up there, I'd love to tell you about it if you're curious.
I would love to hear about it.
Okay, so the first off, the cause that this piece is for this foundation called the Pablo Ramirez Foundation. Pablo was a pro skateboarder that grew up in New York, lived in San Francisco, and was like an inspiration to a lot of people in a skateboarding way, in an artistic way, and unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago while skateboarding. So there's this whole movement around his memory, and we're building skate parks in his honor in New York City, which is a big deal because it's hard to build skate parks in New York City, but we're determined to make it happen. So this organization, I've been working with them for like a year, doing murals, doing different types of projects, workshops with kids in Brooklyn, doing like mural painting and skateboarding. It's just like the best thing ever. So this photo is to raise money for this organization. It's a photo I shot like 10 years ago on a skateboard trip. Just, you know, that feeling of like complete freedom and presence is what I was trying to capture with this piece. And it's almost sold out. I think there's like a few editions left, and it's 100% going to that organization to hopefully build a skate park in the next couple of years.
I think that's a super cool.
Man, that's crazy. I was looking up that Pablo. I was looking up the foundation there, trying to figure out. Is it Pablo Ramirez? Is that what it was called?
Yeah. And they're actually doing an art show in San Francisco coming up soon, and I'm trying to get them to have some of the artists in the show sell their work as NFTs, because Pablo's art himself was just, you know, epic artist from the time he was like a kid. So he has all this work that kind of is still circulating even after his death, and still inspiring a lot of skateboarders. I just think that overlap of skateboarding and art is yet to be fully explored. I know so many skaters who are just incredible artists, but they don't take their talent seriously, or like don't think that they can really make it. So I want to try to build that kind of community this year.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to follow that project here in 2022. If you need anything, feel free to shoot me a message or connect with me on any of the other socials out there. And that goes for anybody else. We are on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces pretty much every day, Jason and I, and usually Austin and Expensive. We try to hang out. The other two guys are very, very busy. But as community and general security helpers, tech support for the need holders, we are there for you. So if anybody ever does need anything, feel free to cash in your utility on your need chip there and get some tech support from Jason.
That's not an official utility of the token, but currently, yeah. Oh, I just want to jump in here and say too, for anybody who did miss it, of going through the tutorial with Chris and setting up the wallet, I do have a recording, not of this particular call, obviously, but I have one. So if you look up in the pinned tweets at the top, there is a link there to just a single tutorial video to show you how to add MetaMask to Chrome. So if anybody needs that, go get it.
Perfect. I was just liking that too. I'm going to retweet it. Yeah, it's the third tweet there, everyone. Go ahead.
This skate project I'm super interested in. I love it that trying to get I mean, you know, real estate is obviously a premium out in New York City, so I love that trying to get money raised to build skate parks, because I used to skate when I was a kid, so I'm a big fan of that. All right, super ton of dead air there. I try to not be the one constantly talking.
No, did you? Okay, I got rugged. I was like, what happened there?
I just know I tend to run on, so I've been trying to cognizantly shut myself up. And with that, Welcome, everybody, to the Burning Bush Collective on Twitter Spaces. Tonight we are doing NFTs for all. We onboarded Chris Do, he'd gotten an NFT from his successful YouTube channel, didn't really know what to do with it, so we onboarded him to get him set up, showed him how to set up a MetaMask wallet into his Chrome browser, and then also hooked him up with some need tokens. So Chris Do is officially a need token holder. Pretty cool. We've gone over a bunch of different stuff from tokenomics to how to market to some of the behind the scenes sausages of what it takes to make an NFT project. And I see Expensive's got his hand up. So over to you, my man.
I have a question. What do you think that Chris is going to do next? Now that he's got this tool in his hot little hands, what is he going to do? What kind of moves? Is he going to be like Cosmo de Medici? You know, is he going to go buying up every
He's like, I
NFT?
like the Bored Apes. He mentioned,
yeah, he said,
the Bored Apes. That's the first
I
thing
love
he
that.
mentioned.
That was such a baller move. He's like, I like the most expensive.
That was a baller move, wasn't it?
That was the most baller move ever. He's like, I don't want to go for any small ones. I want to go for the top. You know, it was like, I've heard these Bored Apes. I might just buy some. How about a Mega Mutant? I've heard this thing. That looks like something I might want to use.
Hilarious.
But what does everybody
I wonder
think?
if he knows that when he mentioned Kozik, I don't know that Kozik was involved with Bored Apes at all, but I wonder if he knows Kozik is all over NFTs. Anybody that doesn't know, that's the founder of Kid Robot.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he is all over it. He was all over Hicketnock. He's about that action. I used to hang out in the clubhouse rooms with him all the time. He's a big NFT nerd.
He interacts with Kid Robot all the time. He definitely knows.
Yeah, he would know.
Definitely knows.
And then I see him Kozik retweeting some Bored Ape stuff all the time. So I don't know. Maybe that's.
We just found out who Satoshi is for Bored Apes.
Well, I got two DMs since the room is closed from Chris, and they're about NFTs and future conversations. So I would say he's got a lot planned.
Awesome. Keep an eye out. He'll probably be here again talking about his stuff.
Yeah, I want to be the Chris Do. I want to be the future pro liaison for NFTs, Jason and I, since we did the office hours and now we've done the Twitter Space onboarding. So it's only right.
Like security and everything, doing it with people that you trust is the number one thing, I think, for people, for artists and stuff.
Yep.
It took a year. We both have been working with Chris for a year now, and he's finally he's like, okay, I'm ready to be onboarded. I trust you guys to do this. And as a matter of fact, let's do it in a public space. That way, if anything does go awry, someone can help call it out. So he was probably checking his DMs the whole time, making sure someone wasn't DMing him in a back channel. Like, this is all wrong. But I mean, what an all-star cast of people to chime in on the conversation. I mean, absolute privilege. Of everybody who chimed in tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is like NFT Twitter history.
It is. It was.
It is.
It was.
Yeah.
In the making. So, well, I mean, if that's it for everybody. If anybody doesn't have any questions, or if anyone does have any questions, feel free to tweet me or find us in the Discord. One of the tweets, I'm sure, has the Discord in there. Yeah, even if you're not going to buy a need NFT, come hang out in the Discord. We'd love to just even chat with you, get to know you, because that's what it's all about. Our rising tide raises all ships. So we're here to help educate. We're here to have these conversations, like I said, daily. Feel free to give myself a follow, the need, any of the people up on stage, any of our great question askers. Yeah. That being said, that's all I've got for you guys. It sucks not having our music, any of you guys have been with us on Clubhouse. We've got outro music, intro music, and music pretty much playing the whole conversation, just underlying music from the need. But we don't have that on Twitter Space, so you guys are going to have to just get a closeout with us. Everyone just going, oh, goodbye. Thank you. But yeah, shout out to Richard, too, who just joined. I just saw him. Big, long-time friend of ours. But yeah, everybody else say goodbye. Wave. Make sure you're following us. We'll be back tomorrow, maybe even on Clubhouse later tonight. Who knows?